Hi, this is Corey, and here's another Synchro training video. In this video, I'm going to cover some of the basics of setting up your work breakdown structure, as well as adding links to your schedule. So let's begin. If you are converting to Synchro for the first time from SureTrack, it might take a bit of adjustment to get used to the way Synchro handles work breakdown structure versus an activity code structure. In SureTrack, if you remember, you had to set up your phase, area, subphase, responsibility, and then you would apply different codes, and that would be in your define activity codes. That was good, especially later on in the schedule, because you could change the way it was formatted. The beauty of a work breakdown structure is it allows a very fast creation and a flexible structure as we plan out how we're going to build the project. So even if you've never built a work breakdown structure schedule before, I can almost assure you that you've worked in a similar methodology that Synchro has us use for setting up a work breakdown structure. If you've ever worked in a Microsoft Word outline, you've seen what I'm talking about. So essentially what we do here is we set up our separate phases. So we have pre-construction and construction, for instance, in this general example. Then within pre-construction, I might have owner decisions, design activities, and construction, and you might have additional activities underneath that. So buyout and submittals and fabrication. Then underneath construction, you might have site work, foundations, structure, exterior skin, and interiors. And furthermore, within these areas, you might have area 1, area 2, area 3 if you have a large floor plate. Then you can copy these down, and as you go up your structure, levels 1, 2, and 3, and then that concept of just copying up each individual area. Then you just go back and rename 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to follow a very similar structure as we move over into Synchro. So you'll note here that I type in the very same way, pre-construction, construction, hit enter. And now I'm going to add these child tasks. And the way I do this, I hit add one child, and then I add 2 additional children below this. And I'll say owner decisions, design activities, construction, activities, and then I use the keyboard shortcut as Control-Shift-I, buyout, submittals, and fabrication. You'll see also that we do have a template with some of these things loaded up. So now I go into my construction tasks. I have site work, foundations, structure, exterior skin, and interiors. Now within foundations, I'm just going to schedule area A. And now I'm going to build out a schedule fragment for the foundations of this project. So let's assume that it's going to be a drilled piers type of a project. So we would start off with layout piers, drill piers, and in this case I typically like to say rebar and concrete as well as part of that activity. I like to keep them all together because that's typically how we think about a whole area of a building. That we don't do all the drilling, then place rebar, and then do concrete. We do all the piers moving in some direction across. So then we would have pier caps, we'd have our grade beams, our under slab utilities, and then slab on grade. So and then I delete the extra tasks that I didn't need. So if I had these two areas, how I would handle this, and I call them area 1, I would right click and say copy task. And here I'm going to paste task and paste another task. Well, I could do that, but what I really want to do is link the logic together first. So I have my layout piers as 1 day, drilling piers, let's say that takes 10 days, pier caps 5, 5, and slab on grade is another 5 days. So I can do something like this. And then for this last activity, I'm going to do a link as chain, but I want to do this as a start to start with a positive leg. So I double click on that relationship and I say, make this a start to start with a positive 3-day delay. Now in many people's eyes, you're pretty much done after that. However, I don't like that method of scheduling because it's technically not correct. Because if we increase the duration of the slab on grade, the underslab utilities, which we really do need to have done before we can finish our slab, the scheduling software is not going to kick in and tell us that there's anything wrong. So for instance, if this pushed out to 10 days, then all of a sudden you can get some funky relationships going on. So the best thing to do is to link that with a finish to finish relationship also. So if I left click and drag to the right half of the successor activity, I get a finish to finish type relationship. And then if we want to say we need to have at least a 2-day finish to finish, then we can see that if we increase the duration of this underslab utilities and reschedule, then yes indeed, this item is going to be pushing out. So that's a good thing. We want to have accurate schedules. And what I'm going to do is just copy this right onto each level, and that is going to it's going to help us make a schedule fast, but it's also going to have a nice level of detail. So I've set up a keyboard shortcut as Control-C to copy tasks, but if you haven't, you can right-click, copy task, add 2 placeholders below, paste task, and actually if you copy that with them collapsed, you won't have to recollapse. Then we can use the handy-dandy Excel dragging. We expand all of our tasks, and here we go. So then I link my crews together. Assuming we only have one layout crew, it might look something like this. And we only have one pier driller, it might look something like this. So that is how we put our work breakdown structure together. If I wanted to go back and actually move foundations above site work for some reason, I would say up, and then that site work portion goes down to the bottom. It's important to note that this task right here is still recognized as a task. It's not Synchro doesn't know that it's going to be a topic header. Nothing becomes a parent until it has a child. You can use that parent-child analogy for lots of things in here. That when I move a parent, it takes all the children with them along. So hopefully, this is a very brief introduction on what the capabilities of Synchro are, and will give you reason to continue working in the program. Thank you very much, and please contact me if you have any questions.